From the 33 and 3rd Music Appreciation Center and Speakeasy just outside of Detroit, it's episode 10 of the Infectious Groove podcast, and the three of us live in the same neighborhood, and we're all pretty sure we're okay. So we did get together with the required distance between us.
We brought Lysol, and the alcohol kills the germs. So
yeah, we're all good.
We're all good.
Who's drinking alcohol?
I don't know.
Alcohol when you're sick's probably not a good idea, but
right.
I mean, who's sick?
No one's sick.
No.
So, having said that, our main topic for this episode is going to be music urban legends. We talked about it at the very end of last week's episode about how we're going to do a lot of things that I'm sure a whole bunch of people have heard, and maybe some ones that people haven't heard. And so, for the first half of the show, we're going to kind of list them off and talk about them a little bit, the ones we know of. In the second half of the show, I do want to get more into how maybe those urban legends affect people, and if you wanted to listen to artists more, or how these things even get spread around, which is
like a virus.
Some of good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. So we will get to that in a little bit at the top of the show. As always, I want to say thank you to everybody who continues to support and listen. I want to make it clear, we understand what's happening in the world. Like, we're not just out here not caring about this. Like I say, the three of us live in the same neighborhood, and we're trying to be.
Would you say it's 0.7 miles apart?
I would say it's about a half mile. So
I think it's more like 0.7 miles.
But the idea behind us being, like, when I go on Twitter and I see people asking about podcast recommendations and whatnot, almost everyone I see is people are like, not the news, not politics, not the virus. Like, I need something to get my mind off of it. And that's why it's very important to me to push forward with this, because,
Yeah, we're all very well aware of what's going on. We are just choosing not to talk about it and discuss it and focus on it.
Yeah, and like when we get into music news, through force of habit, like there's some music news that comes directly out of the virus, which we get. But the idea is that if you have plenty of news outlets to get that stuff from currently. Plus, in a couple of years, I don't want people to go back and listen to these episodes and be like, what the hell are they talking about? Because it's not a thing anymore, because I'm certain we will adapt and overcome. So having said that, we'll go right into music news, which, like I say, is adjacent to what's happening.
Yeah.
So what do you got for music news, Kyle?
I would say the most major thing that's gone on is Kenny Rogers passed away.
Which is natural causes, like has nothing to do with what's going on right now. But it's still sad. Kenny Rogers is one of those cats that, he was 81, and I say this is going to sound like I'm trying to be funny, but I'm not. He had an older look to him when I was a kid.
Yeah, he always had white hair,
the same.
Right?
Yeah, like on his Greatest Hits album. And so, like, around, 95, 99, 2005, every so often I would just be like, Kenny Rogers is still alive? And I say I'm not at all trying to make fun of him passing away, but he always looked so much older when I was a kid that I just was like,
I totally agree.
Yeah. But for me, it's definitely one of those things, and our friend Chris Adams posted this on his Facebook page earlier today. It was one of those things where there were 5 8-tracks in the car at all times, and Kenny Rogers' Greatest Hits was one of them. So when I was a kid, man, it was, She Believes in Me, The Gambler. Oh, will you be releasing a tribute cover of Lady?
When I get over,
you're gotta
get over.
Gonna reissue it.
My sadness here.
Sure. So, but Lady, Islands in the Stream. Him and Kim Carnes had 2 or 3 duets together. So it was one of those things, man. In the early '80s, Kenny Rogers was every damn way. It was like our car. I know for a fact our car always had Simon and Garfunkel's Greatest Hits, John Denver's Greatest Hits, and Kenny Rogers' Greatest Hits. Those 3 were always in whatever vehicle we were in. We probably had multiple copies of those 8-tracks to make sure they were in every vehicle. So, but yeah, I don't know. Does that a death that matters all that much to you two, or is it one you just you're like, oh, that's sad?
It does, because he's on, to me, legend status in the music industry. He's he's been around my entire life. So I don't know.
And spoiler alert, when we get to our Jammy Jams, I'm going to talk a little bit about We Are the World, because that's been in my head a lot. And I just watched a documentary on We Are the World the other night where he was he only had the one line that he sang in the song, but he was a really big part of the documentary, and it was really cool seeing how he was interacting with all the other stars and everything. So, but yeah, he's been around. Yeah,
he's been around forever. So to me, that's why it was a big deal. But as far as him being relevant and still putting out new music, not so much.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think he's one of those cats too that there's people I don't know, to pull a name out of a hat, like Richard Marx, had a huge career, and he's still kind of around.
Yeah.
But he's probably never going to have that big of a career again. There's never going to come a point where Kenny Rogers was going to release a #1 record that won Album of the Year and everybody was talking about it. It's just that sometimes happens in the industry, and I think that was the deal with Kenny Rogers, I think he just had already been to the mountaintop, you know. So it doesn't take away anything from what he accomplished by any means. So there's obviously the Kenny Rogers. We all it was late last night that he passed away, and I think everybody started hearing about it.
Yeah, I heard about it this morning.
Morning. So what else is going on in music news?
The Weeknd released his new album, After Hours.
That's like the only big release that I've seen where people are still promoting it a lot. And I don't know anything about his social media team, but it's almost as if like they just had timer on everything.
Yeah, they forgot to hit pause.
Yeah, because all of the social media from him is like, it isn't even like while you're quarantined, remember, it's like, you know, this in 4 days. You know what I mean? Like this in 2 days.
It also came up on all of the like internet websites and blogs and whatever because this album it has no features on it. So it's just all him. Which is
a welcome change.
When I opened it up and I started listening to it, I was like, wait a second, there's nobody else on this album. And I had said something to Michelle about it. And I went and looked it up and sure as shit, everyone's like, oh my God, like there's no features on this album. Oh my God. Like it became like a huge thing.
That's good though.
Yeah. I totally agree.
That's one thing, that genre, man. Yeah. You know, when I was a kid, hip hop and R&B, every so often somebody would guest on someone else's track, man. And then it got to a point where, like, in the last 5 years, it's the artist name, and then in parentheses, it's 700 other people, you know, featuring this person, this person, this person, and this person.
I went and looked it up because I wanted to, for whatever reason, that when that Jay Electronica album came out, like Jay-Z's on every song, but it's unlisted that he's on the track. So I wanted to see if there was actually nobody on the album, and there's not.
Yeah.
But
so that came out. It'll be interesting to see because there's a music forum where I'm continuing to debate with people whether or not people should continue releasing music right now. And I think you're nuts if you say no.
Yeah.
Like what?
You 100%
Why wouldn't you?
You have one of the only products on earth that's instantly distributed to
and accessible to everybody.
All of your customers who can't do anything else right now anyways. Why wouldn't you? But having said that, this discussion is taking place on a Guns N' Roses forum where people are always looking for excuses as to why GNR can't release music. You know, and so help me God, if Axl Rose has the nerve to be like, well, the virus, I can't release the music, you know, which is something he would do.
What if he just released everything right now?
That'd be great.
I was waiting for this time.
I have my own theories on that. Me personally, I don't think we're going to see any more material until after he passes. I think everything's being stockpiled for after he passes, but whatever. That's my wild GNR.
To keep him like relevant forever.
That and to keep certain people in funding. We'll say. So what else is going on?
The main thing I would say the Kenny Rogers thing is the main thing, but other than that, musical artists have now pushed to the internet to do performances for people who are stuck in their houses.
Which is sweet.
Yes, it's badass. And
everyone's probably heard about the Garth Brooks one on the news. Because I saw it on like the news this morning. They were like,
who watches the news?
Yeah, me. Fox 2 Detroit. They're working for you. But I saw it on the news this morning, and one thing I think that's cool about Garth is it's all request. It's him and Miss Yearwood, and they're just going to take requests, which I think is sweet.
Is that her stage name?
Is that her stage name?
Miss Yearwood?
No, that's her name.
Trisha.
He calls her Miss Yearwood, so I just was being professional about it and calling her what he calls her.
I was just asking.
You know how I make my son call you Miss Michelle?
No.
No? Okay. Well, he's been being polite to you for 14 years. You just haven't noticed.
Actually, I do know.
But anyways, I think that's rad. And then I'm going to fail on this, but I know there's been a bunch of other artists doing.
I see them all over Facebook. Like every band that I could think of that is on Facebook has announced that they're doing.
Let me say this:
shows.
Every artist should be.
Yeah.
You know, like, and now again, like we know the Lone Bellow. They're similar to us. They live like kind of in the same area and whatever. Like it's probably safe for them to get together and do it. But I understand that like the Stones, you know, are like 5 millionaires who probably live on 5 different. Like they're not going to be able to get together, right?
Yeah.
But like the average artist. Like, now's the time to prove how talented you really are. Let's see you sit with a condenser mic and your instrument and do this. John Legend, I think, did one with at the piano.
Sounds about right. But I know Dropkick Murphys did one on St. Patrick's Day because they haven't missed one in like how many years?
That's awesome.
That's like their day.
Yeah, they're like, we're not missing this day. So. And
also, I'm going to say this as a precursor. The first artist to charge is an asshole.
Yeah.
Like they're all free right now, but the first artist to be like, and then it's probably going to be Guns N' Roses. The first artists that are like, you know, and for $5.95 you're an asshole.
Are they still touring?
Who?
Guns N' Roses.
They did a show right in the middle of the outbreak. They played to 70,000 people in Mexico.
Right on.
Yep. There was a lot of people all irritated about it, but whatever. I was mostly irritated because it was the same damn set list again. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
the few people who were still playing were all catching shit for that.
Yeah.
Like Post Malone did a show. Everyone was pissed because they were pretending like nothing was happening, basically.
Yeah. What I think that's pretty much all the news, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, moving around to our Jamie Jams trademark.
Trademark pending.
Michelle, what you been listening to?
I have only been listening to one song on repeat all week.
Mm-hmm.
Hold Me While You Wait by Louis Capaldi. It's been
I thought
on
you were going to say Old Town Road.
Yeah.
Hometown Road?
Hometown Road. By whom?
Louis Capaldi.
Okay.
Most of his stuff in general I've been listening to. I don't know why. It's just been stuck in my head all week. But that's a jam. I would definitely recommend checking it out.
That's odd for you. Like, that's, I think, 2 shows in a row where you're now doing the, and I listened to this one song 40
over
times
and
in a row.
over and over again. Yeah, I will say that this week has been a truncated week for me because I didn't go in the office for 2 days, so I feel like that's a lot of my to and from work music and at my desk music. So
and then at home, it's just a lot of beeps being played by Cap.
It's a lot of bullshit. Just kidding.
But yeah, okay. So have you listened to? Is there more material available? Is there that's just the one single out?
Oh no, he's got a whole.
Oh, he's got a whole bunch
Yeah.
of stuff available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it whack or dope? Or?
No, he
like no. I'm just saying, like, should people go and just listen to
Oh no, the whole thing. If you like the Hold Me While You Wait, you'll like his whole album. It's
Okay.
very similar.
Okay, because we
That's
talked
just my
about that
jam.
before. There was more than a few artists we've talked about where we were like, and don't listen to this.
Yeah, he's got some pipes on him. He
Okay.
does good stuff.
I don't. Is he from the UK?
I think.
feel like
so.
he is.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
For me, it's only 2 real tracks, and one was spurred by Amazon Prime has on it now this hour documentary about We Are the World. That was like when the song came out, you could buy the videotape for like $20 or something, and I just never got around to seeing it. And like part of it's almost kind of like an infomercial for a product you've already bought. Like, you know, like the first 15 minutes is Jane Fonda, like, very much reading off of cue cards, being like, you know, like, here's why you should support this cause. And you're like, but I did already. You know?
Yeah.
The bulk of it is like, and I've talked to you guys about this before, like the freaking ridiculous legends that are on that roster.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, aforementioned Kenny Rogers, Michael Jackson, Lionel Richie, Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, Hall & Oates, Steve Perry. I mean, and I'm forgetting 20 people right now. You see all of them just interacting like regular old dudes. You know, like it's not Ray Charles,
Right.
You know,
yeah, it's really weird.
and they're
to
all
see
just
that.
being like super nice to each other and like helping each other out with their harmonies and their parts and stuff. Like there's a part where Huey Lewis is working out his part with Cyndi Lauper and Kim Carnes, and like they're all very professionally being like, "Oh, you would sound better if you sang that part longer." Or if I came in over here or whatever, and then they keep working through it till they do. I mean, it's amazing. You get to see almost the whole damn song recorded. It's awesome. So that's on, I'm sure if you just go on Amazon Prime and type in We Are the World, it'll come up and it's free. But because of that, I've listened to the song a ton more again. And I just love the song. Oh, you know what was one of the coolest things in it is Harry Belafonte is in the mix of these people. And somehow someone, because it's going to happen. Like if we were standing in the room with them, we'd do it too. Somebody's like, "Dale," like, you know, and as soon as someone lets it out, Belafonte just gets this look on his face like, "You sons of bitches." And so like the entire room, like all of those names I just started talking about, just they all start daylight come at me, what, right? And so I want to say it's Al Jarreau. Somebody in the room knows the lyrics to that whole goddamn song and keeps like doing every line. And then the entirety of the chorus is like daylight come at, and like the whole time Belafonte's just got this like look on his face like, can
That's
we be
funny.
done with this?
I'm going to sound like a dick. Isn't that like his one thing?
Yeah, that was what he was most known for. Yeah.
Like, so
But
that's what.
No, but he doesn't look mad. He just looks like anybody would. Like a minute into it, he looks like, okay, so that was fun, you know. But anyways, there's a whole, and then there's another part in it where they're rewriting the bridge or something, and Stevie Wonder, in time, on key, and rhyming, he says something to the effect of, if you don't sing your part right, then you got to get driven home by him or Ray. And, you know, they're both blind, you know, so it's just funny to hear, like, Stevie make that joke. You know what I mean? Like, the whole thing is great.
That's funny.
So anyways, that, and then completely unrelated to that, I've just had A Long December by Counting Crows stuck in my head still, and listening to that.
That's a jam.
It's
That is a
such
jam.
a good, that's one of those songs that when you put it on, it paints a picture in your mind. Like you get to the whole Drove Up to Hillside Man or something, you can see all of that.
Yeah.
You know, like I had never even been to
Ally?
I'd never even been to LA until like 2 or 3 years ago, but ever since I've heard that song, I can see that whole area in my mind because of that song. So, and it's just one of those tunes, man. Like when I got to hear that song, I got to hear it. like right now.
Yeah,
You know,
it's a damn jam.
what are your jammy jams? I'm assuming you've been listening to The Weeknd.
I did. I listened to about half of the new album all the way through. Didn't make it past that yet.
Like for time or lack of interest?
Yeah, time.
You just had too many errands to run and too many things to go do right now.
So, funny thing that you mentioned that is having a 7-year-old that's out of school currently. I was stuck in the house with a 7-year-old, so I got to listen to what he wanted to listen to most of the time, which was a lot of Old Town Road and Whiskey Glasses by Morgan Wallen.
Sure.
Over and over.
He doesn't
and
have
over
any.
again.
He doesn't have any bootlegs of the Wiggles or anything.
No, it's just that. It's Alexa, play this. Alexa, play that. Over and over and over again.
That's one thing. I'm glad Zach's a little bit older, and like I got through that.
Yeah.
A lot of his now is like, "Hey, can I play this?" I'm like, "Yes, you can." You know? But so about half the weekend, and
and I liked what I heard, and then I plan on listening to the other portion of it.
I have to assume he'll be on SNL soon, or. Which that'll be another thing that'll be interesting to see. I assume SNL's just going to go audienceless when they come back.
Yeah, I think so.
That's pretty much what everybody's doing. I guess Jimmy Fallon's been doing the Tonight Show from his house with his iPhone, and it's great.
Oh my god,
yeah,
that's
it's
awesome.
just it's just him sitting around with his iPhone at home doing the Tonight Show. It's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Anyways, that is what we've been listening to. We'll get into the topic of music urban legends. The one that I wanted to start with, and what I mean by music urban legends is basically pretty much anything anyone's ever told you as fact that you're like, I don't know if that's true. It pretty much qualifies.
It typically sounds like some far out shit that makes no sense in real life.
Like what you're reading on the internet now?
Yeah, well, and we'll get to that. Like that's absolutely on my topic of things to talk about. But I think like one of the oldest ones that you like as far as in the timeline when it would have occurred is the Robert Johnson story about selling his soul at the crossroads.
Well, I tried to look that up because I never.
You have a devil blocked on your internet. You said you tried to.
No, I said I did have to look that up.
I thought you said you tried to look it up.
No, I did have to look that up because I didn't even know who that was.
Yeah. Oh well. No, I mean it's not like he's a current name.
He's in the 27 Club though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the story goes that he couldn't play guitar worth a damn anything, and then turned around twice, and all of a sudden he was like a master of it. And the story goes that he went down to the crossroads and sold his soul to the devil, and then all of a sudden he could play guitar real well. But I think that's probably the oldest one. And you'd never even heard that before?
When I read about it today, I looked it up, and they said it was actually the first time that story was told, it was by somebody else, and then it just kind of keeps repeating, like, through time.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, that's how all of these So, like, someone told someone one of these things, and then they told two friends, and they told two friends.
Saying, like, with a different artist. Like, it originally was about a different artist, and then, like, the times change, and then they're like, well, this happened to this artist, and then they're
like... So, like, it started with, like, Pharaoh.
Something in, like, 1928 or something.
Okay.
I think that's
started
like
with someone else.
Literally the oldest urban legend in music.
That's what I'm
selling
saying.
your soul to the devil to be successful in music.
Yeah.
And that's just like me and Michelle were in an Uber one time, and the driver was involved in the music industry and had just been in L.A. Yeah, and she immediately went into like all this like this. Oh yeah, you got to do all this stuff, and like they make you like they prick your finger and make you put your blood on the thing. You have to drink somebody else's blood to like be part of this club, and like she was like going into this whole thing, and immediately I was like, what the fuck is happening
like,
right now?
We're just trying to get donuts.
Yeah, it was weird, and that's a thing. It's just forever has been a thing. All the successful people in the industry are like a part of this like
Illuminati.
Secret thing.
Yeah,
they had to sell their soul to be successful.
Yeah, I've heard all that type of stuff too, like just the general.
Yeah.
I guess the music industry urban legend itself.
Yeah, that is the urban legend for the music industry
for sure. And then there's other ones that I think people probably just sat around drunk or high and made up, and then like they told their friend.
Yeah.
And then like, because did either of you look into the Gene Simmons thing?
Yes.
That was just like, I need to make it clear to you guys, that was like accepted as common knowledge when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah, like it wasn't even like a hey, can I tell you a secret about Gene Simmons? Like it was just like, well, about Gene Simmons' tongue, right? And you'd be like, no, and they'd be like, oh, he had a cow tongue, like surgically, and people would just be like, oh, okay, decent. Like,
no, like that's scientifically impossible.
Yeah, that makes no sense in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, but people would just like, well, okay, now let me back up. Like, I was like 6, so I have an alibi here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well,
as a 6-year-old, I
was. As a 6-year-old, like, holy shit! Like, really?
But they were like grown adults telling me this, and it was just like accepted as real.
He kind of played along, though. I feel like.
I think a lot of people do, except for the next one on my list. I mean, like a lot of these benefit people if they play into it.
Yeah.
The Rod Stewart one. Did you guys look into that?
I did look it up, and that's another one. That are you going to explain what it is?
I will say that there was a very strong urban legend in the early 80s that Rod Stewart had to have his stomach pumped of a certain fluid.
A gallon of semen.
There we go. Straight for it.
So I read on...
So much more adult than I handled it.
do you know what Snopes is?
Yeah.
Okay, so I read on Snopes, I just wanted to look it up, and they said that the same urban legend has gone around with Rod Stewart, Elton John, David Bowie, Jagger, Andy Warhol, Jeff Beck, John Bon Jovi, Alanis Morissette, Little Kim, Britney Spears, Fiona Apple.
Basically, if you're either a confirmed homosexual or someone just doesn't like you, they just say that about you.
Yeah. So
also, where does somebody get a gallon of semen?
So did you hear did you look it up?
No, I don't.
So the story that Rod Stewart tells is
such a child. Go on.
Is that it's a long story. He went on vacation and took his assistant with him, and they sold out of rooms, and his assistant had to room with somebody else, a 7-year-old or something, and he brought a dude back with him because he was gay, and then the 7-year-old was there, and then he got fired because he did this thing. And so this was a retaliation thing. So he told everyone that Rod Stewart had blown an entire fleet of sailors, like when they came into port. So it was, and so Rod Stewart's quote was that he's never even done one sailor, let alone a whole ship's worth of sailors, to have a gallon worth of semen pumped out of him.
Well, all right.
So
that one is almost a combo of what I said. Like that was Rod Stewart being homosexual and someone not liking him. He's like, I guess they never confirmed it, but he was like, I think this is what happened from this guy. And again, people would just state that as fact.
Yeah.
I want to be clear. No one was talking to me about that as a 6-year-old, but as a guy, it would be like 14, 15 or whatever else. Like people would just be like, "Oh, did you know this about Rod Stewart?" And they would just say it like it was fact.
Yeah.
Not even like, "Oh, I heard this from a person who I'm not sure." Like people would just be like, "And here's a fact."
Right.
So
I just keep picturing a gallon of milk in my head and saying what, how that's a lot.
Well, it's not at one time. It's over multiple people. Like if you just sit in line and they just come through.
But that's still so much.
That's why you have to get your stomach pumped.
And then you have Marilyn Manson has the twofer.
You're like, we're done with semen now.
Well, no, we're not exactly done because of the Marilyn Manson thing. But one of which was the I don't know if you guys ever heard this, but that Marilyn Manson was the kid from the Wonder Years, the neighbor kid, Paul. I think Paul.
Yeah.
And again, it was just a thing people said, and it was just like, oh, and so he also was on the Wonder Years, and you were just like, oh, okay, that's weird that he grew up to be Marilyn Manson. Not at all true.
No, that's actually like an actual actor.
Right. Yeah. To a completely different person from Marilyn Manson. And then, unfortunately, to bring it back to the same topic, is the whole he had a rib removed so that he could handle himself.
Fellatio style.
Yeah. And that again was just people like, here's my thing. If you were like just talking about Marilyn Manson, people would just be like, oh, and did you know this?
Yeah, literally that would come up every time.
Yeah.
So he's never denied it either.
No, he lets that shit ride because it's
people talking about it.
Doctors said that it's like medically possible, but they said that there's no record of a surgery like that ever happening.
If
but
I
they
was
said
him, I'd let that ride till the end of time. Because we're talking about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, someone's
correct me if I'm wrong,
it.
but I'm almost positive that he's admitted I let that shit go, and everyone keeps talking about it, and that's cool with me.
I don't know why you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Well, if people would straight up ask him, he's just like, I don't know. Like, he doesn't ever say no.
Yeah, the big Elvis being alive thing has been around forever. That's not even so much an urban legend as it's just like in the 80s it was huge. Like I just think people just didn't want to let him go.
Yeah,
and so
there's no like mystery with his body or anything like that. Like it's actually in the casket or.
Well, there's a whole thing where his body wasn't in the casket for the public service.
Okay,
and
there was a public service.
Yeah, I mean it was huge. I mean it was like the biggest. But he passed it at 42, and it was completely out of nowhere. Like the nation wasn't, expecting it, and so. But the thing that's part of these people's theories that he's still alive is that it wasn't why not put the body in the casket, if not, and whatever. And the whole idea was because you're having a public service for the most well-known person on earth. Like we're not going to put the body in the casket. Plus there's whole things about like why is he buried at Graceland? If, it's so again, like Jim Morrison's been kicked out of one, maybe two cemeteries because of crazy fans. And the cemeteries are like, you can't have this body here anymore. And so Elvis was buried in public for, I think, like 3 years before they had to move him to Graceland because they were constantly worried about grave robbers. Like somebody going and taking Elvis's body.
There's a very similar thing with Tupac as well. People claim that he's still alive. So why do you think...
The Tupac thing is a little different, though, because that dude releases lyrics of stuff that are current.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, there's weird shit about
like
how
Elvis is not putting out a new single about the coronavirus.
Yeah, that's true.
Tupac was talking about the World Trade Center and stuff.
Yeah. But like, what I'm saying is like, so no one thinks Biggie's still alive. No one thinks Bob Marley's still alive.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure there are people out there.
Well, and there's all sorts of conspiracies
people focus
surrounding
on
Bob Marley,
those
though.
two people specifically.
Yeah,
Elvis and Tupac. Like,
but Marley has his own set of conspiracies too.
Yeah,
like
totally.
the government killed him. And so on. But yeah, the Elvis thing. My whole thing through these, because I grew up a huge Elvis fan, was like, if Elvis is dead, then he's dead. Let's be done with that. And if he's alive, he obviously wants to be left alone. So
right.
let's do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, let's
agree.
just not bother him.
I like the way that the True Blood books did it. I don't think you were a fan.
I'm still not overly familiar.
In the books for True Blood, someone, what is it called when you take your body in? The dead bodies? Where does that go?
The morgue?
Morgue, sorry. They take Elvis's body to the morgue, and the doctor there is like, oh no, it's Elvis, like, we need to save him. And the doctor there is a vampire, so they bring him back to life, but he's been dead for too long, so he's like special now. And like, he doesn't know that he's a vampire, and he sings all the time, and they have to like keep him hidden and I just think that's a fun way to like deal with the rumor. Like, I just feel like that it was just pretty fun.
So then like, if people spotted him, it was because he was a vampire. And
so he's at night, but he has to have a keeper because he doesn't realize he's a vampire and that he's dead.
Okay.
Like, they don't tell him, and like, they just kind of like.
I feel like both of you might not know this, but do you know what the big rumor was in the 80s about Elvis being alive?
Mm-mm.
I swear to God, this is true. You can Google it right now. People were convinced that he was spotted at a Burger King in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
What?
That was huge.
Can we go?
80s. Like, people were like, and people would make pilgrimages and be like, let's go to the Kalamazoo that Elvis was
Why
at.
in Kalamazoo?
I don't know.
He was there for the beer.
Several of his last shows were around like Saginaw and the west side of the state, so maybe, I don't know. But he passed in 77, and this was like 84, 85, and people were convinced that he had been spotted in this, Burger King, of course.
He's just been living in the UP this entire time.
Yeah. Well, in my whole thing on that has been, like, I love Elvis more than most people that I know, and I'm okay with what he gave us in the 42 years. Like, if he's been alive for the last 40 years and doesn't want to do anything else, okay.
Right.
Like,
He gave us more than most artists give us over their entire fucking career.
Yeah, like, I'm not... he doesn't owe me anything.
Yeah, he doesn't owe anybody anything.
So, but I also agree. I can see people being mournful.
Yeah.
Like I say, I remember the day he passed away when I was 2, and I remember it because the house was like sad, like a relative passed away. So I could see people being mournful enough to where they're just like, oh, I wish I could have him back. I mean, that's my only guess. And then the other one that kind of goes into like the law type thing is like there's always been rumor and innuendo about if Courtney Love had anything to do with Kurt's passing.
Yeah.
What do you mean if?
My thing with that is, and I don't want to get into libels or anything, but if you watch the movie Soaked in Bleach, you'll see a lot of what I think about it, like what I've come to learn. And it's ultimately it's one of those things we're never going to know.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Who is that movie made by?
Isn't it the private investigator?
I forget his name, and I feel bad because he comes off in the movie as a really good dude, but he's the private investigator that Courtney Love hired to find Kurt after because the timeline events was Kurt was in Rome and had the overdose, came back, was in rehab in LA, went up to Seattle on his own, and then that's when he disappeared. He was disappeared for like 3 days before they found his body. This guy is the detective, private investigator that Courtney Love hired to find Kurt. And when his body turned up, she was more or less like, oh, okay, well, I don't need your services anymore. But in that time, and if you watch this movie Soaked in Bleach, the guy more or less turned on her and was like, I'm pretty sure she had something to do with this because like things weren't adding up and whatnot. And again, you watch the movie, I don't want to say anything.
Boy, I bet she wishes she never did that now.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine it's the guy, he comes off as like, he's not a Kurt Cobain fan.
He doesn't have a horse in this race. He's like, I don't even know who these people are. Like, they just hired me to find this guy.
Yeah. They called and they were like, that's Courtney Love on the phone. She wants to hire us to find Kurt Cobain. And he was like, I don't know who either of those people are. You know what I mean? So it's not like a guy who's
right. Yeah.
I thought it was that she hired him though to find out what happened. I thought it was after the fact, and that.
No, it was before. And I haven't seen the movie in a long time, but I think I'm right on that.
I just remember at one point he was like, I can't continue to take your money because I think you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one of the big ones is I think everybody's heard about Phil Collins and the story behind In the Air Tonight.
Yeah.
Had you guys heard about it before we talked about doing this episode? When I was a kid, I remember like whatever 95.5 or like one of the pop stations, they just told that story as fact one day. Like there's a 12-inch single remix of In the Air Tonight that's got like an even longer. It's basically just an elongated version of the keyboard intro.
Yeah.
So it's got like a good 35 or 40 seconds before he finally starts singing, like longer than the version, and the DJ just told the story over the intro and was like, and then this happened. And for anybody who doesn't know, the whole thing is supposedly Phil Collins didn't know how to swim. He was out on a lake or a pool. The details change, and a friend of his drowned, and there was a guy who was there who could help and didn't. And then Phil Collins gives this guy tickets to the show and then sings the song directly to him, and the guy goes and kills himself. And again, there's all different, there's moving parts in that I'm sure everybody's heard of.
Yeah, I heard it was Phil Collins that watched somebody be drowned and all this stuff. But I did read today, which I don't know how true it is. I actually didn't look up to see if it was true, that he said that it was about his first wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then everyone was like, well, that's a really angry song. And he said he was really angry.
Yeah. He's like,
yeah, weird.
He's like, fair play.
Yeah.
I was angry. So there, but yeah. And so probably have to take a break here in a second. We've got more to get to. And then I've got some discussion I want to have happen about these overall, but the Phil Collins one, the thing with that was that, like, I don't want to say a pop radio station is the news, but like when I was a kid, they just said it like it was fact.
And they're talking to a bunch of people.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, they have a huge platform.
The first time I ever heard that in my life. And then I would talk to people about it for like the next 5 years, and every person I talked to had never heard the story. And they were like, what the hell are you talking about? And I'm like, they said it on the thing,
Yeah.
They're like, okay, crazy.
Yeah. So I just didn't understand why that was even a thing, and that's another one too, is like, who sits around and makes that up? You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
It's an awful elaborate story about for a song to be about someone's wife.
Yeah, it just seems like somebody must have been sitting around listening to that song, got real drunk.
Yeah,
said that wouldn't it be cool if, or whatever.
Wouldn't it be cool if someone died?
No, but like, wouldn't it be neat if this song had a big, huge story behind it or whatever else? And then like they told someone, and then 10 years later, some guy in the Detroit radio is telling me that it's fact.
Right.
My dad's old neighbor used to work for Phil Collins. This is what he told him.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus.
Okay. There's a lot of those I've heard over the years, too, of people being like, well, I know a guy who worked for, or my sister's friend used to work for, and they'll tell you things, and I'm always like, I'm never telling anybody what you just said.
You should probably also stop telling people what you just said.
Yeah, like, I'm not gonna, and also, if you would do me a favor and not ever tell people that.
Yeah.
So, in any case, we do actually, believe it or not, we've still got a good amount of these to get through, so, because people be crazy.
Yeah, no shit.
Saying things that are crazy. So we'll take a short break and be back in just a couple of seconds. Here's a fact you can believe. It's the second half of the Infectious Groove podcast.
So I've heard.
There you go.
I know, but this one's real.
Yeah.
It's not even an urban legend. Yeah. You go around and tell people, I heard they did the second half of the show once. Turn ourselves into an urban legend. So we have a couple other ones that we want to get through, and I think what's funny is the one that I want to start the second half of the show with is happened at least 3 times, and all 3 times have been super believable, is somebody's dead and or was replaced.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure everyone listening just now in their head went, Paul is dead. Like that to me is the first, like we were talking about, like Robert Johnson is like the originator of the Soul to Soul thing. Like Paul McCartney is the original. This person is dead. But it was like, if you do, and did you either of you do any reading up on the Paul McCartney?
Not the Paul McCartney thing, but I've already been down a way big rabbit hole with
clones and replacements.
Yes, it's been a whole thing. It happened one day, like on accident.
But like the thing with Paul McCartney is everything that I've ever read it was like near hysteria about it. Like people were like, "This is real." Like this isn't like the other ones we've talked about with like, "Did you know this about Rod Stewart?" It was just like things people said to each other at a party, right? But the Paul McCartney thing, people were like convinced that Paul had passed away and was replaced with somebody. And then I think we have a lot of Beatles fans, like friend of the show, Joe, our friend Josh on the West Side State, who are like way more Beatles historians than I am.
Right.
But at some point the Beatles started to play into it, I think, with like some of the hints that are on the records, like there's stuff on Sgt. Pepper that would like give you, and then like Paul isn't wearing socks on the cover of Abbey Road or something like that. And again, I'm sure the Beatles fans right now are like, how do you not know? But I don't. But the Beatles, I think, started to play into it because why not?
Publicity is publicity, man.
Yeah.
And the Beatles were super short on publicity. But if nothing else, it probably took away from some of the stuff they didn't want going around, like the infighting. And stuff, So they were probably like,
yeah, sure, he's dead.
Yeah. We all hate each other, but he died.
I'm certain Lennon was like, oh yeah, he's dead. Lennon was not a fan of Paul, to say the least. So, but there's that. And I swear to you, I did not know this was a thing until like a year ago, but it's been going on forever that Avril Lavigne was replaced.
That's when.
Yeah, wow.
That's when I went down the rabbit hole. I was like, no.
That goes deep into the
Hold on.
I know.
Hold on. Will you walk us through your initial impression one more time?
No. But then you watch the videos and you look at some YouTube stuff and you read some articles and then maybe you can kind of believe it. I don't know.
It is very, very I'm not one to believe,
So I think right now
bullshit.
we're up for 2. People should watch Soaked in Bleach and decide how they feel about the Kurt thing.
Yes.
And then apparently watch a YouTube video.
No, just go search Avril Lavigne replacement or whatever on Google.
I watched a video and it was just like before and after, and like it can be rationally explained, but the way that they present it, you're like, oh no, like she's actually somebody else. Like,
and I think that goes back to the Elvis thing too. Like a lot of things surrounding the way he was handled after he passed. There's enough there that you could be like,
yeah.
People put a lot of time and money into that whole thing. After watching it for, long enough, you're like, oh my God, it is a different person.
Yeah,
but I believe the actual truth is she has Lyme disease and just stepped away from the spotlight because she was sick.
Yeah, there's other stuff that can be explained.
I don't want it to be that simple.
Yeah.
Like plastic surgery could be a thing. Like they're like, well, look, she had this, how her eyes looked in this day. And
I've
then, like,
seen.
Yeah. And then it was like, or like, there's other things that could explain.
And
that,
she did just put out music recently, like within the last year, and it sounds just like
her
she used.
clone
Yeah.
That's exactly it. What's his name from Journey? Sounds just like Steve Perry. So I don't know.
Arnel Pineda.
That's his name.
Certainly not a clone.
No,
definitely not a clone.
A vocal clone.
Yeah, vocal clone. That's for damn sure.
So.
And then there's a third.
There is
Right.
Gucci Mane. For those of you who don't know who that is, he's a very, very famous underground rapper who became mainstream within the last couple of years. He went to prison. Let me back up a little bit. He was very.
This is all fact so far. Like he did.
Yeah, so he was very, very unhealthy. Lots of drugs. He was overweight. Just not being his best self or living his best life. Went to jail.
They would not have featured him on Ellen for like.
No, he just was.
He was the before picture of Slim Fast.
He had a big old, I would say beer belly, but it was more like a lean belly.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, and he never had a shirt on. It was just whatever.
We'll say Elvis 1973, not 1977.
Yes, okay. Absolutely. He goes to jail. He stops doing drugs, starts eating better, gets healthy, comes back out of jail, and is ripped and looks like a whole different person. So immediately everyone's like, "Oh my, he's a government plant." Like everyone, the FBI, he's an FBI clone. Like they released him back in the music industry.
Clone.
This is a sidebar, but do you remember the first time you saw Dr. Dre was ripped?
Yeah.
You know,
Is he ever unripped?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I
Dre
don't-
He
used
used
to
to just have like an average body, and then he's huge.
All I know
now.
is the yoked. That's what the kids say, right?
Yeah. And the same thing. The same thing happened with Timberland as well. He is absolutely massive now.
But yeah, the first time I saw Dre like that, I was like, what happened to Dre?
Yeah.
He got swole.
Yeah.
Oh, he got swole.
Super swole.
Yeah, is what happened. So anyway, so he looked different enough to where his fans were like, that ain't you.
But only like body type wise. Like he looks the same.
Yeah.
He sounds the same when he talks, sounds the same when he raps. All the things are the same except for how he like physically looks.
That's crazy.
Has all the same tattoos, but people, if you go look it up on the internet,
It's the same thing as Avril Lavigne.
oh
Like,
yeah, are
everyone's
convinced that
convinced
someone else got all these same tattoos, and it's just a whole other person that the government like released into the music industry.
So, and I had this on my list of questions I wanted to go to at the end of the discussion, but you guys were saying, put them into the discussion. I think it fits right here. Like, so when the Paul McCartney thing happened, when I grew up, I was like, oh, well, no one knew any better. Right. And like,
What do you mean?
like somebody told someone and someone told someone else, and there was no Wikipedia or whatever to go look up and just be like, no, Paul McCartney's very much alive. Right. But now I start to think the internet makes it worse.
It does.
Do you think the internet makes it worse or better? Because you should be able to just go prove whether this person is alive or not. But
I think it makes it
there's
better.
so much misinformation out there. Like, you mean it enhances the ability for
all the same crazy people that made this shit up are able to spread it everywhere on the internet.
Yeah, but also there's the same amount of people who can prove things wrong. Like you can go in and say like, this is not accurate. This is not possible that you could have this happen to somebody.
Yeah. Like, and this will segue to another one is the Keith Richards thing. Everybody always says Keith Richards had all of his blood replaced with like other people's blood. And again, if somebody might be listening to this and be like, these people are the craziest people I've ever heard. But this is just stuff I heard.
did a good amount of looking into this thing. It's like, that's not a thing. Like maybe it is. If you were like a gazillionaire, maybe it could be a thing. Keith Richards is not. So he's not on the level of like
got Rolling Stones money.
He's not on the level of like Elon Musk or like Bill Gates or any of those kind of guys.
Yeah.
But like you could have stuff done like when you have liver
dialysis.
There you go. So you can have like hemodialysis done, which in theory removes your blood, cleans it, and puts it back in your body. That's just what the system does. And people who have kidney problems have to have that done. But as far as having all of your blood taken out and replaced with new fresh blood, or like somebody else's blood that's not whatever destroyed their body or whatever, I don't think so.
See, and that's one of those things that like again, the first time I heard that, I would have been 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And again, I didn't have any, so I wasn't running to the encyclopedias on the shelf to like look up,
right,
like anything to do with it. It just became fact to me, And then there's another one. The Mama Cass thing, like when I heard that when I was a kid, which is the rumor was she died choking on a ham sandwich. Like when I was a kid and I heard that, I was just like immediately dismissed it as just like mean.
Yeah.
Like somebody just like made up something mean about her. But then in the first Austin Powers, when he's like catching up on the years that he missed, they just stated as fact. And like I get like there's that and Liberace was gay. Who knew? Like, those jokes or whatever. But he like checks that off as how Mama Cass died. And I remember watching that the first time and being like, is that a thing? Like, is that real? And that was just, and she just died of natural causes. I mean, she died very early, but again, because of being unhealthy and whatnot.
Also, what a weird thing, because you could actually die from choking on whatever you're eating.
Right, of course.
Like, why?
Yeah, I just thought it was.
Yeah, it's weird.
Thought it was just a mean thing because she was big.
It's the turkey companies.
Yeah.
They're against ham.
Absolutely.
I feel like it does make it on a larger scale. Like the rumors can grow faster on the internet.
Now with the internet.
But I also feel like it arms you with enough information that you should know better. Like,
yeah, but you're sitting here saying the Avril Lavigne thing might be true.
I didn't know.
It's very convincing. It's not true, but it's convincing.
Just like, have you ever seen Loose Change? I feel like we talked about this.
I've never seen it, but I know of it.
It's convincing.
It's convincing, but I know it's not true.
Said the man who must believe it.
So we have something else to talk about?
I was going to say, you just said that absolutely as a person who believes that movie.
It is convincing. Yeah. But
well, that's how I feel about Soaked in Bleach. Like, and I think I've told both of you this before. Soaked in Bleach was free on like either Netflix or Prime. And I remember out loud being like, this will be good.
Yeah, you texted me. You're like,
And then 15 minutes into that movie, I was like, oh no, this is real.
And see, so having a background in film and whatnot, I like the idea of documentaries, but I don't like how they are able to skew them one way or another. Yeah. And it makes everything seems like something is a fact.
You should ask about that. The Michael Jackson estate. As far as skewing documentaries.
Yeah. So all that shit like that happens all the time. Like Michael Moore used to catch shit for it all the time because he would skew things way in one direction versus what's actually going on.
That's another one, the Michael Moore stuff. Like, that's just not, like, some of his stuff isn't
that's
real.
my point is you would think the internet age would help.
It does, though.
Get rid of the false info, but it doesn't.
It's the same people who believe it when you said it the first time without the internet. Or like, Mama Cass died from a ham sandwich. Like, the same people who are like, okay. Like, instead of being like, that might not be true, are the same people who are not doing research to find out.
That's true.
And very much like Marilyn Manson, how he just lets that ride and was like, maybe.
Yeah.
Gucci Mane very much thought it was hilarious that people thought that he had a clone when he came out of prison. So I would
have named my next album Clone.
He actually... I want to say that he has a mixtape or something that has the title loosely.
That would have been the name of my next record.
He also raps about it constantly.
First song on the album would have been Clone Part 1.
Yeah, he raps about it multiple songs.
So so far what we've covered so far is the Avril Lavigne one, the only one that you guys think could possibly hold any water, or you've at least looked into it and been like,
I've looked into it as to the point where like I could actually see all of that as being true. I just don't believe it.
Yeah, when I found out that she had actually gotten sick, like she has Lyme disease or whatever, and like just stepped away from being famous, then all of those rumors around why she isn't famous anymore, or like why like she was replaced or whatever.
Yeah,
sure, but I think she's just sick.
The one that I saw was that she killed herself after she divorced the Sum 41 guy.
Yeah,
and then the record label was like, "No, we need another Avril." Like, do we though? Like, I feel like that's like
I
the part.
We don't. But...
I like her music, but it wasn't like it was like.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah.
She wasn't
like
Beyonce.
Yeah, Michael or Beyonce or something.
Her new music is what I wish she was the entire time.
I liked her first album when it came out when I was in high school. Like, it was my jam.
Yeah, Skater Boys.
Yeah.
Did you like it more than Jagged Little Pill? Because you sure didn't have a lot of thoughts on Jagged Little Pill.
You didn't ask me what was the first album that I bought that I loved. You asked me what was the first album that I bought.
Yeah, but yeah. So another one is this is a great time to bring this up.
Oh boy, you have to put your drink down.
I do. We love the fan interaction, and I use that term loosely. Fan, like listener, I should say, interaction.
We love our friends.
And we like whenever we say what the next topic is going to be, like people are lighting up the Facebook page with like, like, oh, I know this, and this, and after the episode comes out, we're getting feedback, on that. And then I'm fielding like texts and tweets and stuff. And so this was definitely one of them. Like when I was like, we're going to talk about urban legends, a lot of people shot me their lists, and there were people posting them on the Facebook page and stuff. And my friend Bob Morgano, who is lives out of Jersey, sent me his list, and it was very much all the same ones. Robert Johnson and Paul is Dead and so on. But he was like, and then one. I've only ever heard this from one person, but I was told Stevie Nicks got told by her doctor that she could never do cocaine again, or she'd lose the cartilage in her nose, like her nose would fall off of her face. And I said to him immediately, I was like, I've always heard that. And he was like, I thought my friend in college just made it up. But like,
I've always heard that.
Always heard that.
I didn't feel like it was going to fall off of her face. Like it's just going to run away at some point. Like,
I'm just going to leave this here, but Artie Lang is 100% proof that can happen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Who is he?
He's a comedian, but he was.
Oh, you showed him.
Yeah. So he did a massive amount of drugs, and it literally rotted away his
That's
nose.
why I feel like it could be true. Like I feel like that's an actual thing that happens to people.
But yeah, and so, I just thought it was so funny that growing up here in Detroit, I heard that from everyone about Stevie Nicks. And then my buddy who grew up in Jersey is like, heard it from one place ever, and he's like, I'm pretty sure this one isn't true.
What's funny is you put that on the list, and I didn't even look it up because I was like, that's true.
You're like, oh, I didn't know we were discussing fact. So, do you think any of this stuff that we've talked about, like, I think some of them are obvious that they enhance, like Robert Johnson.
Yeah.
That's just a cool story, man. Like, you put on a Robert Johnson record, you're like, why this guy plays guitar so well? Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Beelzebub, that's why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wait, what did you just say?
Beelzebub.
What is that word?
Another name for the Dark One. Satan.
Voldemort?
Yeah. Yes, he should not be named. I think stuff like that enhances, but I don't think any of these other ones have ever pushed me towards or pushed me away from an artist.
No.
But like, okay, let me ask you this, and because you guys looked heavily into the Avril Lavigne thing, right?
Yeah.
No, did you see anybody being like, and therefore don't buy any of the Clones' music or whatever?
No, people are just convinced that it's a different person.
They just are saying that's a thing.
Too much time on their hands.
Yeah.
It's not even music related at a certain point.
I will say that the Marilyn Manson thing back in the day, that would have drawn me to
I feel like
to be
people,
a bigger fan of his because
I think people thought, that's
like, crazy shit. Like he's awesome.
Yeah.
Like it's the same shit with like that he's like a Satan worshiper and all that kind of stuff that draws into the entire that genre of music.
I didn't put them on here, but Kiss.
Oh, Knights in Satan's Service.
And then there's the and this I'm totally unprepared in bringing this up, but there's the rumor that their comic book, their comic book was made with their blood.
Oh yeah,
like all four members of the group, and I think if Kiss is definitely the band that would just let whatever fly.
Oh,
Like, oh, you're talking about us?
Yes.
But are there any big ones that you've ever heard that I didn't bring up, or that like maybe like the Gucci Mane thing I didn't know anything about? And like you mentioned Tupac.
Because people still think that he's alive.
Yeah, people just
chilling out somewhere.
Seems like more of an urban legend than anything.
Yeah,
but I don't think. I think Avril Lavigne's got to be the most recent one, right? Like I don't think there's been anything.
Yeah, I know. I was actually shocked when I heard that.
The most recent one is the Gucci Mane thing. He like that's as of like the last couple of years.
That's right. Okay.
People have been on this Avril Lavigne thing for like 5 years probably.
Yeah,
and just that's why there's so much believable shit on the internet.
I wonder if
about it.
she's ever said anything about it.
That's how I found out she had Lyme disease.
Oh,
she said she had Lyme disease.
Yeah, but did she say that's why I don't have a clone? Is because I have Lyme disease?
No, she said that's why I stepped away from the spotlight.
Yeah, but she did. I'm saying, did she ever address the issue of her not, of somebody replacing her?
I don't know. Maybe.
One of the ones I didn't mention was the song Roller Coaster of Love. There's a scream in that, and like, I don't know how this stuff gets started, but like they're supposedly it's a woman being murdered in the next room, and that's
what
how
in the
and
fuck?
the scream is just on the track.
Wow.
And it was a cleaning lady. Like it, again,
Oh, boy.
the parts change to the
Yeah.
story. It was some other band's girlfriend or something or whatever, or a cleaning lady or whatever.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, you know, and if you're that band though, I mean, do you just come out and be like, no, or do you just leave it out there? You know, like, I mean,
That's true. Yeah.
it's not exactly urban legend, but I don't know if you all ever listen to the song Rocket Queen by Guns N' Roses. There's some pleasurable sounds at the end of that are very much, I don't know, it's pretty much not an urban legend. That's things going on in the studio that are on the track. So I don't even know that could even be connected. Like, oh, well, let's do something like that, you know, put that on here. But the whole backward masking thing, I think, falls into the urban legend.
Because back to Marilyn Manson, all you ever heard was if you, I don't remember what album it is, but if you went to track 99, it was a hidden track or whatever, and it plays it backwards. So if you played it forward, however which way you do it.
Why do I feel like I know this?
Yes, because it's an urban legend that it was like some satanic message that he left on. I don't remember what Mechanical Animals. I don't know. I'm not sure what album it was. But if there was a secret track back when secret tracks were a thing, which I was a fan of, awesome.
I think 9 Inch Nails Broken was the first secret track I ever heard.
Yeah, and there's been like Primer 55. I don't know if anyone knows who that is, but yeah, they did one. It was track 55, and it was just them screaming cuss words over and over again, like ass, fuck, like back in all the band. And I would actually call a couple of my friends and leave that on their voicemails or their answer machines back in the day. But there's a lot of stuff like that. And
I mean, it goes back to, and I'm sure there's examples before this, but like Zeppelin 4, Stairway is supposed to have backward masking in it. Like when I was a kid, I tried it a million times, and no, it just sounds like Stairway to Heaven backwards. And then of course there were trials over the Judas Priest and Ozzy ones because parents were convinced that there was messages embedded into the records that caused kids to kill themselves and whatever. And, you know, they actually had to go to trial over that.
I'm reasonably certain that was a calculated thing on Marilyn Manson's part to do.
Oh, sure.
To put track 99 and it being some sort of, and it's all it is just scrambled audio, so you can't understand what it's saying.
There's no way to say this without sounding like I'm insulting him, and I'm not a huge fan, but I don't hate him at all. All of Marilyn Manson's shtick is taken from people who did it before him. Like even his name. Is a play off of Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
You know, the female name and you know, and then he's got Marilyn Monroe was beloved and Charles Manson is notorious, ergo Marilyn Manson. Yeah. You know, his whole stage persona is directly lifted from Ozzy's 82 tour.
Yeah, well, yeah. He thrives off, his entire career is based off controversy.
So the backward masking would just be like, okay, well, here's the next step.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing that I've ever held against Marilyn Manson was I went and saw him again like 5 years ago, and he was still doing the same bit. Like he's like up there. I don't know. He's probably almost 50 now, and he's up there like
in the
with the same
suit with the boobs.
Well, he's like up there with like the makeup on and like burning the Bible and telling people to tell their parents to go to hell. I'm like, all your fans have moved out of their parents' house now. Like,
so I will say, I saw him 2 or 3 summers ago, and the opening song, like as the lights go down and everyone's like, oh my god, he's gonna come on stage. Rick Ross, "The Devil Is a Lie" was playing as loud as it could be.
Yep.
And then he comes out with the whole thing. And it's the performance, because I had never seen him before. I was like, holy shit, like, this is awesome. Yeah. I very, very much like the fact that he is a performer as well as a musician.
Well, I think maybe for me the off-putting thing was the whole parents bit.
Yeah,
I was like, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
No, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who are you addressing this to? Like, all of your fans that were teenagers are like 40 now.
Right.
You probably don't have a whole lot of younger fan base at this point.
He still comes out on like the stilts, and he had what was supposed to look like a big bag of cocaine that he threw into the crowd, and like it was just a theatrical performance. And I was like, holy shit.
Along those lines that I'm stunned has never had any urban legends going around, and boy, howdy have they tried. White Zombie. And like Rob Zombie in particular, like dude's got all sorts of like macabre and
you never hear anything about him.
And
he's just low key.
I've actually met him twice, once at a meet and greet, and then one time I literally just ran into him in Las Vegas. And he was just like the nicest guy, both, especially when I just ran into him in public. Like he was just like the super nicest guy in the world. And like you would never know that he's like the guy who looks like a corpse on his album cover.
Is he short?
Yeah, he was short, quite a bit short. He was quite a bit shorter than me.
Yeah,
so
he looks like he's short. I don't know why I'm obsessed with how tall people are.
Well, it was just one of those things where I was just surprised because you think of a lot of celebrities as larger than life in the first place.
Yeah,
and then like there's people like, obviously I never met Elvis, but he was 6'1". That's a big dude.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like if you met Elvis, almost anybody would be like looking up to him. Oh wow,
It has to do with
but then Prince was way shorter than most people know.
It has to do with how they're portrayed to us. Like in the music videos, they're big. In pictures, they're big. Then when you see him in real life, it's just a normal, small person.
When I saw White Zombie at the State Fairgrounds with Pantera years ago, it was on the Astro Creep tour, so they had been around for a little bit. When they started the show, Rob Zombie came out with like, he wasn't on stilts or anything, but he was just had like all of his gear on.
Yeah.
And then because he runs, the guy puts on a fantastic show. Like he's always running all over the place and getting the crowd hyped and stuff. So he started to take off more layers. And like as the show went on, I was like, wow, he's way smaller than I thought he was, because he kept, getting smaller by taking off the clothes and whatnot. So. Especially, I think he lost a lot when he took off his Macho Man hat. When he took off the 10-inch hat,
crazy top hat thing. Yeah,
I was like, oh no. You know? I actually saw a Michael Jackson tribute concert 2 or 3 years ago, and the only real difference between Michael Jackson and that guy was the guy was like a solid 2 inches taller than Michael Jackson, which was like, for me, was enough to be like,
it's noticeable.
His singing and his moves were amazing, but it was noticeable.
Yeah.
And then we always go see
Jason Tenor,
Purple Rain in Las Vegas. And
boy, howdy.
Everything about that dude is just like Prince. He sings just like him. He dances just like him. He plays guitar and this is coming from a person who saw Prince 4 times. So it's not like I didn't watch Purple Rain and then go see this guy and go, oh, he does Let's Go Crazy. Well, like, dude's amazing. But he's like a solid foot taller than Prince.
At least. If not a foot and a half.
Yeah. And so having been in the same room with the real Prince and then watched Jason Tenor perform, every time I'm just like, oh, if you weren't so tall. But the show's amazing. Huh. But for you, have you ever had that where like you've heard one of these urban legends and you've been like, well, I don't want to listen to that person anymore, or I want to like Kyle was saying, Marilyn Manson was enhanced.
Yeah, that was attractive to me. Like,
was there any of them that you've heard where you're like, even like, okay, so this Robert Johnson thing, you're not like, oh well, I want to look into some of his music over it.
No, if I would have done it when I was researching it. I feel like it sounds like a dick thing to say, but I don't.
No, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, no.
My point is, you didn't hear, because you're saying you heard this for the first time. About Robert Johnson. You didn't hear Robert Johnson sold his soul and became a great guitar player, and you weren't like, oh, I should check out some Robert Johnson.
If anything, it would just compel me to read more into the story. Mm-hmm. I've never been compelled to be like, even when I heard the Avril Lavigne stuff, I wasn't like getting all nostalgic and putting on her first record and, getting all into it. I was just like, this isn't, I feel like I separate it. You were going to put it on,
but it was too complicated.
I was just gonna. But I feel like I separate them, the rumors from the artists.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things that's like, cause this, I've always been adamant about like, I don't care about artists' personal lives.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, like there's like certain things that you can't, just say, I'm going to look past that or whatever. But, I've never really cared about artists' personal lives. Like even when I was growing up and people would be like, oh, Elton John's gay, right? I'd be like, why do I care? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't care where he puts it.
I think maybe that's why it never mattered to me. Like maybe when I was a kid and I heard like some of the screwy stuff Ozzy was doing or some of the rumors about Ozzy, maybe that made him cooler to me, but I don't remember being like, oh, I need to go get more Ozzy because, he's such a badass.
I also think that I would see lots of interviews with different artists and they would talk about like the stuff that people say, rumors or, them being unfaithful, to whatever. And it's constant. Mm-hmm. And that must really suck.
Yeah.
Like, in general, like.
And I think that's one way the internet has made it way worse.
Yeah. Like who wants to, like, I would say 99% of the shit you hear on the internet or anywhere about an artist is untrue.
Mm-hmm. And Michael Jackson used to say that, the old quote of a lie gets halfway around the world before the truth. Michael Jackson used to add on to that and say, but the truth runs marathons.
Yeah.
And I think that what sucks for artists today is if we wanted to, we could just put on our Twitter today a whole bunch of stuff that's not true about whatever artist, right?
Yep.
But it's going to do like a pretty good amount of damage before the truth starts running the marathon. You know?
you only really hear the truth when they sit down and like, that's not true. That's complete bullshit. And then even then people are like, oh, you know, of course you're going to say it's bullshit.
Yeah.
But
don't even get me started on
it. It's endless.
The life of a Michael Jackson fan.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime you have the nerve to suggest that he's not guilty of these heinous crimes, people, oh, well, of course you think that. No, I don't care how good of a song Billie Jean is. It has nothing to do with that.
Right.
You know, if I was going to support an artist based off of how good their songs were, and I thought for a second they were guilty of something like that, you know, I'm not gonna do that. So that's crazy to me that I think the internet can do a lot more damage, but I think it's in a way it's kind of surprising that we haven't seen more of that, like people just making up like really bad things about people and trying to pass it off, you know, as real. I don't know, maybe technology will start having to play in that soon with like, you know, like the deep fake videos and stuff that are coming out. I mean, who knows what could happen in the future.
That's true.
I sure would like to not see that happen. You know, like what if everybody just spread positive things about the artists, you know?
There can be positive rumors.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, why don't we just do that instead?
But they can still be lies.
Don't tell anybody else this. But I know for a fact Ozzy is super nice. like he's all please and thank you and shit. You know, like, and then let's see how fast we can get that rumor to spread that Ozzy's just overly polite.
And it's endless and it's never going to end probably, and it's just. I
wonder.
It's part of the allure of the industry, to be honest.
Yeah,
it's there.
I think that part of it. I think the mystique helps to some extent. Like, and I've mentioned Michael Jackson way more than I meant to in this conversation. But like in the '80s, there was the whole he sleeps in a hyperbaric chamber thing, but like there's always been industry rumors that like he would plant some of that stuff to keep people talking about him. You know what I mean? Like just
also that's not people who can afford hyperbaric chambers. Do sleep in there.
Have at it.
Athletes. Famous people. Whatever. It's not. It's a thing that it's good for you. And if you can afford it, people do it. That's not some like weird. I don't know why people make it out to be like some. Oh my god, like that's crazy.
Well, I think at the time it was just to keep people talking.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think he would ever leak a rumor about himself, or I would hope any artist wouldn't leak rumors about themselves that would be detrimental.
Right.
I mean, maybe Gene Simmons would do that just to keep people talking, but who knows? Total side note, the other day, totally random, a fan tweeted at Paul Stanley from Kiss and said, hey, do you think there'll ever be another Kiss album? And he just tweeted back, nope. Which is crazy for anybody from Kiss to give anyone a straight answer. But I was surprised I didn't read about that on like
the news,
music sites.
It wasn't
and stuff.
On the news in the morning.
Well, no, it wasn't on Fox 2 News. We're here for you. But no, it like none of the music sites ran that or anything. And like the guy who runs Kiss was like, no, which means essentially we're done with Kiss music, which I know doesn't break your heart, but like I like Kiss a lot.
No, you don't.
They got a lot. I do, lady.
I'm okay with Kiss being done personally,
but no, I don't love them. And what's funny is I like the era of Kiss. All their fans don't.
Yeah.
So like all their fans love the 70s stuff, and for me, they don't even start till like 83.
Yeah.
And I go to like 91, and I love Carnival of Souls, which most Kiss fans, every time I say Carnival of Souls, they go, I don't like Psycho Circus. And I'm like, listen to the words. I said Carnival of Souls, not Psycho Circus. Totally different record. And actually, I've played that album, Carnival of Souls, for people who are like flat out telling me they will never like a Kiss song, and I've played that album for them without telling them it's Kiss. And they like it. So that's how different it is from everything they've ever done. But did we hit all of them? Did you guys have any that, because when I sent you guys the list, like I think that's pretty much all the big ones. Yeah. I guess we'll throw it on the listeners now. Like if you guys have some that we didn't
let's talk about it. Let's spread more rumors. Just kidding.
But and also I think it'd be interesting too, like I was saying, a lot of these things have moving parts, you know, like the Phil Collins one. You know, what I heard was different from what you heard, and what you heard, like I would like to hear what the versions other people heard, you know, because I think it's definitely a telephone game.
Oh yeah.
You know, someone probably did go to the doctor around Stevie Nicks and heard something said about her sinus system, and they told 2 friends, and they told 2 friends, and then by the time it gets to Michigan, did you know her nose is going to fall off?
Yeah.
Do we know that's not true?
No, I haven't spoken to her about it.
Would
Had
you?
the whole Artie Lang thing not happened, I would have been like, well, a lot of people do a lot of cocaine. Nothing's ever happened. But something really bad did happen to him, and it's all related to drugs.
That's
So
medically possible, so I feel
it is medically possible.
I feel like that could actually be a thing.
For
That,
sure.
that out of all the ones, I feel like that could actually be one that actually happens.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to reach out to Stevie Nicks, and Mike Downing, we're looking at you in Chicago. He
Is that
talked to
where she
her.
lives?
He talked to her one. No, but he's a mega fan. He talked to her once for like over an hour. So maybe he did.
Did you get her digits?
Yeah, that's actually a cool story. This was back before meet and greet sucked, like before they charged for meet and greets. And stuff. And he can correct me on the Facebook page, but I think I remember the details right. But they basically had gone through this entire line for meet and greet, and he was the last person in line. And so he got like instead of the like, oh, okay, I'm not listening to you while I'm signing your CD, like they had a full on like real conversation because he was just the last dude there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so he didn't do the Chris Farley, like, do you remember when you were on Rumors? You know, like he just, he had like a genuine, I wouldn't be able to form words if I talked to Stevie Nicks. Like 2 days later, I'd be like, your nose, is it the thing? Like I wouldn't even got it out. But yeah,
I would write it on your arm.
which is great. Yeah. Which is great for him though, because he's such a huge fan that he got to have a real interaction with her, I think the biggest celebrity I've ever met, and the one that meant the most to me, was Roger Waters, and I had maybe 30 seconds with him, but it was a very fun, genuine interaction. And I think that's a lot more natural than how they do it today with the thing. So that is what we are talking about. Oh, and if you want to have fun on our Facebook page, make up urban legends about us.
Yes.
Our show. And
maybe you heard we're the most popular music podcast on the internet.
And the good news
I heard
is
that too.
Kyle and I will confirm or deny everything you say about Michelle. Because it's 2 against 1. So we'll just, anything that gets posted about Michelle, Kyle and I will tell you if it's
Just
true.
know my mom's on the internet.
Well, no, nobody's, come on. Okay, hold on. Let's remember to keep it fun.
The hashtag Tell Michelle What to Do is still on, still live and going.
Years from now, we'll make up a rumor about that and be like, did you know why they really made that hashtag up? Anyways, it was a lot of fun. This for me is one of those things that it's just in the air supply. You hear all this stuff all the time, and I think it's fun to talk about. And if nothing else, maybe again, because the idea behind the show is for people to direct people towards music, maybe somebody will just be like, I haven't listened to Rod Stewart in a while, and it'll go there. Or worst case scenario, you Google some things and then get on the Facebook page and tell us, oh, well, I read this and this might be.
There's also
real.
A very fine line with the Avril Lavigne thing. You can either stop while you're ahead, while you're looking into it, and be like, oh, that's bullshit. Or you can just be like, well, I don't know. And you keep going, and then you go real deep into it, and you're like, oh, God.
Then all of a sudden you're like, Avril Lavigne's not real.
Yeah, it's a new
all
her.
your friends.
I kid you not, with Soaked in Bleach, inside of 15 minutes, I was like, I think I believe everything.
Yep. That's exactly how it happens.
See colors in a different shade. Been enlightened.
I turned it off and I was like, the grass is blue now. But yeah, so we greatly appreciate everybody giving us time as always. And again, as we said at the top, we know that this is a weird time. It is not lost on us. If nothing else, we're hoping that we made you smile or laugh or took your mind off of things and we're making friends with everybody, kind of telling you more about our background, and maybe because we do, there's I think 5 or 6 continents people listen to us on now.
How many continents are there?
It would be 7. there's still 7. But it would delight me if somebody on an entirely different continent was like, yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be neat. So we have one last thing that I always want to talk about at the end is at this time I'm not going to mention support and that type of thing, because people have a lot more on their mind than worrying about if they're going to pay into a podcast. We are in the opening discussions of possibly doing supplemental episodes. At this time, there'll be more on that, hopefully on our social media later this week. It's going to depend on how some things go. But we did have several fans reach out to us on almost every medium and say, hey, would you mind doing some extra episodes? So we might do like some bonus episodes that are not main topics, like us all discussing a record or something, but we'll get into that more once it's decided. Next week for our main episode, regardless of what happens this week with possible supplemental episodes and going forward, we're going to talk about music and motion pictures, and it's going to be kind of a big umbrella because to me that covers biopics like Walk the Line. You mentioned the Dewey Cox story, but like Walk the Line, Love and Mercy, your music biopics, Straight Outta Compton and whatnot. But to me that also covers non biopics like Eddie and the Cruisers, Grease. Like I would also like to get into soundtracks because soundtracks were I feel like the soundtracks were a monster thing up until about the Bodyguard. Yeah. And then ever since then it's kind of gone away, but they were just a monster thing in the 80s. And then Michelle requested that we be able to talk about musicals as well. So
I love very little musicals.
But what you love, you love.
Yeah. Very few musicals I love, but I do like a good musical.
It's probably going to be you educating us on them because I'm not very good with musicals, but
I count like 5.
Yeah.
That I actually repeatedly watch.
I seen Hamilton.
Hamilton is on my list. Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that is where we're at. Once again, we greatly appreciate everybody listening. We will get back to everybody on if or what supplemental episodes are coming, and we'll give you all sorts of direction on how and when that's going to happen, if it's going to happen. Until next time, we always say, without music, life would be a mistake. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.